Hey there, welcome back to Soldier Farms. I'm Jim. Today, I don't have a project for you. We're going to take a look back at 2025, the year in the rearview mirror. And I'll show you some things that I've done over this year that have felt like progress for my small business and for my shop and for me as a woodworker. And some of that has absolutely nothing to do with woodworking aside from the relationships that you make with people who are trying to do the same thing you're trying to do. Some of them with a little more experience, some of them with a little less, but it's been a blessing to me all year long, seemingly from okay, we got here, what are we doing, to finishing up the year with some fresh perspective on things, some ideas for the future, both of the business and my YouTube channel. Never thought anybody would watch the 1 minute of the video that I put out this time around. I had experimented with doing some things more than 10 years ago. We had a property across town. We were going to try and do a little free farm, and I was going to document the project as it went along, and it didn't go anywhere. We got a lot of trouble from neighbors. We got a lot of harassment from the city. As far as, you know, what we were doing. They couldn't find an appropriate way to tax us, so we got some harassment there, and eventually we just gave up on it. And a while after that, then we went and lived a year in Wisconsin for my wife's job. So it would have been tremendously hard to manage that from, 6 hours away. So everything's a blessing, just sometimes you don't recognize it. So, anyway, here we go.
Hand-carved hearts, strong as stone, from a small barn shop we call home. Soldier Farms, you feel the grain, every board tells a name. Soldier Farms wood shop, bring the warmth inside, hang our work where your stories live and hide. Find us on Etsy and Goimagine too. Soldier Farms wood shop, made by hands for you. Hey!
Alright, y'all, so I reckon the best place to begin would be back at the beginning, before this whirlwind year even started. 2024 was winding up. It was, probably into September, October. We had been, like, in the evening times, the shows we like to watch were winding up, and so we started spending more time on YouTube, and so we are looking at the different woodworkers and things, and I was watching one guy, and he was making like these little salt and pepper shakers or something, and then so I went looking for something else because I had seen a thumbnail for something like on my lunch at school, and I didn't have time to look for it, so I went back looking for it and couldn't find it. And then I landed on the Bearded Viking woodworking channel, and it wasn't a live stream, but he had a project on there for like a little walnut shell, like a curio shelf or something. Could even been like a key rack. He has a few of those things, and my wife and I were sitting there and watching, and he's funny, he's engaging, he's entertaining, but I looked over and she said, "That's nice." And I said, "I can make you that." I don't have the tools, but I know how to make it. And she said, well, why don't we look at that? Oh, I don't want to get into all that. And so weeks passed by, and we were watching something else. And it was another fella, and I forget who it is. And it was an older video. I think it was from like 2012. And he was cutting out staves for these little, like a face grain cutting board. And then he was, he was making them to a certain size, and he was trimming off the ends and then gluing up the ends as trivets. And it made a lot of sense to me. I said, I can really do that. And she said, well, we don't really have the budget for you to get into that. Okay, well, let's see what I can do. So I started looking around, like low-key, no, that's fine. We'll just let that pass. And she says, or I said one day, let me give that some thought. So I got on, I looked at Facebook Marketplace. I looked at Amazon. And so I found a box of like factory second cutting board sticks. Came in a little box from Woodchucks, and I ordered those, and they came, and Postal Service did me the favor of damaging my box and leaving out a couple of sticks when they put it back together. And so I got this box of little maple, walnut, and cherry, and so it's probably better if I just show you.
Hand-carved hearts, strong as stone, from a small barn shop we call home. Soldier Farms, you feel the grain. Every board tells a name. Soldier Farms wood shop, bring the warmth inside. Hang our work where your stories live and hide. Find us on Etsy and Goimagine too. Soldier Farms wood shop, made by hands for you. Hey!
So I got those boards in the mail, and so I put those together. Had really no idea how to go about selling them. So I was on Facebook Marketplace, and I was I told some friends I had made some stuff, and one of my sales was, or my very first sale, I should say, was to a lady I knew from church, and she had adult daughters, their own families, and she bought one as a gift for one of her daughters. And I remember that one very clearly. It was a walnut and maple cutting board, and it had pretty nice figured wood in it. And the other sale was to another teacher that I know. I'm a full-time substitute teacher. And this lady, we had talked, and then, I told her, kind of where to find me. And she, looked online, and she found the board and bought one for her daughter for Christmas. And we were kind of a ways out from Christmas at that point. And, but she, she bought her the cutting board. And then I was kind of experimenting with the board conditioner recipe. And so I had made, coming up there, I'd made, along that time, I'd made my first batch of board conditioner, and was experimenting with another project. And that wasn't going very well, because I had not yet figured out the tricks to making mitered corners and all of that. So we got into the next phase, and I sold all those boards, bought another box of wood, sold all those boards, and bought myself a joiner. So anyway, I'll show you what the next projects were. That'll be more interesting. Listen to me run my yapper.
Well, the chips fly light in the morning shade, hand-cut boards and a pocket knife blade.
So as you saw there, I made that hexagon shelf, and that's the one that worked out. I didn't have a picture of the one that I made that just refused to go together. It's it didn't work out well. I didn't have a joiner, so my material wasn't really S4S, and some of those little furring strips out of that batch were just terrible. But I couldn't get my corners to go together. I tried doing 44.9 degrees. I tried 45.1, 0.2, didn't exactly 45. Didn't work. Wouldn't go together whatsoever. It kind of, you know, I had one that I glued up, but all the corners were kind of like a saw blade. It just didn't work out. So I bought myself a joiner, and we immediately were able to figure that out. And, you know, so that went well. And as you could see on that table, I had discovered a, you know, more convenient way to get my wood than ordering it offline. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There are places I get wood today offline that do amazing work. Woodchucks does amazing work, but I had, you know, a couple of boxes that came where, you know, they were damaged in shipping, and, you know, the companies can't help that. That's just stuff that happens, cost of doing business. So anyway, and my next things went along, and Christmas, we're getting into Christmas, and I set up an Etsy shop, and fellow in the Bearded Viking woodworking forum, Andy Ziley, another Ohioan, lives up by Cleveland, runs Birding Edge Laser Works. He bought a can of board conditioner from me off my Etsy shop. He was my first sale, and has become a friend, and he's given me good advice concerning my laser. I'm still learning a year later, trying to learn my laser, and periodically I try a little bit harder project. I need to sit down with it and just learn how to do cutting projects and learn how to layer the files and all that, figure that out. But he was the first person in the, you know, in this online community that just really, really encouraged me to get into this. And, you know, there were others, you know, along the way, but Andy was first. And so I have lots of nice things that I think about Andy, and he's, you know, I think he's great people. So, you know, there was that. And I had thought about the idea of getting a CNC machine. I guess the first one arrived like Thanksgiving week, and it was a Sane Smart 4040 Pro, and so I was trying to use that, and I bought the laser the same week because the Christmas sale was just outstanding. I couldn't get the that 4040 to work for me properly, and it turned out that it had a bad control board. So I returned it and was just going to be done with that until I decided I was not done with that, and I needed an inexpensive machine to learn on. It's a whole different thing. I'll get into that in another video. So let's say we're into December now of 24, and I'll show you what's going on then.
Dusty light cuts through the room, shadows stretch like the weight of doom. Wood shavings fall like whispers lost. Hammer strike echoes wide, dreams buried deep inside. Soldier's hand, carving time, building lives from broken lines. Soldier's hand.
So then, yeah, we're into Christmas. We're getting closer to Christmas. They're 24. And my wife says, you know that old table we got from my dad? Yeah, I remember. Well, I have this romantic idea that I would like to have that in my kitchen. I've been using that old table. It's an old Formica table, built like a tank, because back then they built things. And I've been using it for the stand for my Bauer miter saw. The 12-inch dual bevel slider. It's a good saw. I wish that the saw that I replaced it with cut as accurately and was as easy to use. It seems like the smaller saw I have to measure and remeasure and set up and reset up and all of that. And I'm sure that I need to do some dialing in on it, but not that much. So anyway, I said, okay, yeah, we can do that. I'll need some stuff. And she said, okay, whatever you need. So I scoured the internet for the, no pun intended, to find the proper thing for redoing this Formica and chrome table. And it had chrome plated legs and, really nice project. So I got into doing that, never for a minute thinking, hey, this would make a great video, because it would have. But the YouTube was still, 10 months away from me. So we got into that, did that project. Took me about a week to, it took 2 days to get it clean. And then we went about, polishing the legs and all that stuff. I did not take them and have them recoated. And it was just like surface rust, some pitting. So I took some an abrasive paste with some pumice in it and just scrub it up dub, and used my wire wheel on my drill to knock down the rust and all that. And I think it cleaned up fantastically. And then I, put a little oil on it, to kind of protect it, because it is going to be in our was going to be in our kitchen. Still there today. I think I've included a couple of pictures where we did some marketing for our cutting boards, and if not, then I will go ahead and include those in the next segment. And then, after Christmas, it was all like this mad rush, because we learned we were going to this craft show, which turned out to be a disaster. So I'll show you what we made for the craft show, and then I'll get back into it.
Coffee in a chip blue cup, sawdust on my boots and cuffs, sun slipping past the hemlock ridge, snow clouds hanging over the bridge, plain shavings curling on the floor, carving curls a little more, just one rocker left to sand before I head back down the land. I got shavings on the floor and Christmas on my mind. These old hands are sore, but they still keep time. Every board I play, I'm one step closer to that screen door slam and their arms around
my shoulders, shavings on the floor. Then I'm home for Christmas. The laurel in a burl I found, summer storm had brought it down, turned it to a cradle rail for a baby I ain't met yet. Small and frail, lantern on a crooked nail, throws my shadow long and pale. Hear that distant whistle moan, counting miles till I get home. I can hear my young ones running through the hall, yeah. Smell her biscuits, hear her call my name so soft. Hang my coat on that same old nail, kiss her cheek, tell the stories past the ale. So I pack these tools, close the barn door tight, lock up the curls in the cold and the night. I got shavings on.
So we got into making things for this craft show around Valentine's Day. And you know, it's your first show, you have no idea what to expect. So I made everything, and we had good sale. Good sales for a first show. Made a couple of $100. Had no idea how to price things. You have no idea really what the lay of the land is. And our experience was a disaster because of the just the elements of the show. So we decided we weren't going to do that sort of thing anymore. We would just keep it to what we know. So we came home kind of wondering, are we really going to continue? Is this how this is going to go? And then someone mentioned to us that we should go to the farmers market here in Springfield. And so I said, well, I'm not making anything until we get over there and see how that's going to go. So most of the winter last year I did substitute teaching, had a writing project I wanted to work on, that kind of thing. It's recently come to my attention that where I got my start as a writer, writing for Backwoodsman magazine, it has, they've had to close their doors. Charlie Ritchie Sr. passed away some years ago, and then the kids, kept the business going, and then just with the cost of everything, a small reader-supported magazine has a terrible time, in this market of, I want it now, I want it free, I want to, it's a hard environment to do that sort of thing, because there are just not as many people who are into that, which is a shame. And that's why we have a consumption society and not a production society. That, there again, another soapbox for a different day. So I will move along and show you how the farm market went. We're now mid-year 2025.
His hands once carried steel through the smoke and the fire. Now they carve quiet story into old oak and pine. The grain speaks a language, rough edges align. But the nights they still call, with shadows that crawl through the cracks in the wall. to break, now try to mend. A cradle, a chair, a life to defend. These hands, these hands are learning to love again. The saw hums low, a soft lullaby.
So the temperature is dropping outside, and nice and toasty here. I have the propane heater next to me to take the chill off because I've got some things I need to get done. And I've got the kerosene over there. The heater is warming it up, but it was 15 degrees when I started this morning, and it just is getting a little colder outside by now. So I'm going to have some coffee while we get into this next segment. As you saw, we made lots of things over the winter time. I got a chance to get into using my CNC machine. Got set up out here in the garage, but our shop was experiencing some growing pains because as you add equipment, you don't realize how your space is really shaped until you have to work in it. You know, you can set things up, but until you take a look at your workflow and everything, then you really have no idea what your real needs are as far as workflow and layout and all of that happy stuff. And it even now is a work in progress. But we made it to spring, and the end of school was coming up, and we were all signed up and ready to go to the farmer's market, and decided that I wouldn't make anything other than to make ahead some board conditioner and then make some samples, because I noticed that at our craft show experience that people who were selling things and they had little free something samples, they seemed to get a little bit more traffic in their booths. So I decided that we would do some samples of board conditioner, see how that went. I had watched a video that said you needed to be successful online. What was it? You need a way to reach people. You need a product, something to give away, and something to sell. And so that was my way of addressing that, and it's worked out pretty good. Generally people get the board conditioner and then they want it, and they come back and buy it. So I'm pretty happy with that. So my next section will be just wrapping up the farmer's market and getting into the autumn, and realizing that I need, even though I was still doing very small amounts of things, that I need to upgrade a few things as we were going along. Still need to upgrade the power. I gotta have an electrician out. I have one outlet that is grounded that I can run the larger equipment on, and that causes a traffic flow problem between the dishwasher and the microwave. So sit tight and watch.
The chisel bites the oak so deep, splinters fly but I can't sleep. I carve the wood to calm my mind, but war's a ghost I cannot bind. I I shape and sand, I cut and play, but every stroke just feels the same. These carpenters' hands won't forget the fight. They build by day, but they burn at night. The hammer swings, but the echoes stay. A soldier's heart is a price to pay. The fiddle hums a mournful tune. I whittle shapes beneath the moon. A chair, a box, a soldier's grace, but sawdust can't erase his face. I smooth the edges, make them clean, but shadows haunt where light has been. These carpenters' hands won't forget the fight. They build by day, but they burn at night. The hammer swings, but the echoes stay.
So through the summer of our fantastic year, we experimented with different ways to do the market, different ways to lay things out. As the summer progressed, we were getting some ideas for some autumn projects. I'm sad to say that Independence Day kind of snuck up on us, and we didn't get anything 4th of July specific made for the market, but it didn't seem to hinder us. We were just happy to be there and happy to be doing it. We had great market neighbors in Honest Living Farm, great people here locally. They raise tons of produce. They raised probably one of the best cantaloupes I've ever eaten. It's amazing. We made friends with another homestead, and they are going to carry some spoons for us at some point, I believe. Not quite yet. They didn't want to get together until after the holidays because, they have a lot going on. I understand that. So, anyway, that was the end of the market year, and anybody with questions about how the market went, how Springfield does their stuff, whatever, send me your questions. I am happy to help. So I'm going to get into the fall and autumn and kind of wrap that up. And I've been on here a little longer than I care to be, so it's New Year's Eve. I want you to be with your family, have fun, be safe. But let me get into this first.
Dust on the bench, shavings on the floor, broom in my hand, hard at the lathe door. Sweep this shop slow. Hands want chisels, but this dirt says no. Rag on the vise, rags on my pride.
So the last quarter of the year has just been wonderful. I've gotten into using my laser. I've gotten into upgrading my CNC machine. I received a lathe as a birthday present, and I have been turning. I have started learning to do power carving. Whittling will come in time. I used to mess with that. I haven't messed with it in years. Hand carved a couple of spoons with a carving set and jacked up my thumb pretty good about 10 years ago and haven't messed with it since. So we're coming to the end of taking a look back at 2025, the year in the rearview mirror. I am not one for resolutions, but I did recently jump in on a 9x9 challenge issued by 9 Acre Family Farms, and the premise of that is to get yourself a notebook right here, try to practice what I preach, and I made 9 goals that, you know, things I really need to accomplish in 2026. And so I'm going to work that, and there will be regular updates throughout the year, so you can either look out for it or avoid it, or tune in and join us. And so anyway, that being that, but it has been a wonderful ride. Thank you to all my subscribers, anyone who has liked or shared a video, somebody who's taken time to comment, anyone who has given a critique, even in a comment on someone else's live. I try to listen, I try to respond, and I try to learn something new every day. And that is advice that I received a long time ago, and it has served me very well. And it has taken me to a lot of interesting places in the learning journey, and that's a wonderful thing. But I would like to thank you all, wish you a safe and happy new year, and I'll play some photographs and put some music I've created with the Suno music app. Yeah, I cannot be trusted with technology. I have abused that. I have made songs. I have done a couple of jingles. So I'm going to put up a ton of the photographs that I took during the year, and you know, put them to music. And you know, this is the end of the video, but if you want to stay and watch those, that would be great. If not, I'm probably going to rip a few shorts off of it, or maybe release it separately, so you can get this and not have to worry about that. But anyway, thank you all very, very much, and it has been a wonderful year, and I'm looking at a great year ahead. And it's all because of my subscribers, my encouragement from my wife, my family, and friends. Thank you so much. None of it would be possible without Jesus, and I am just like truly elated to even be here. Thank you very much.
Of all the money e'er I had, I spent it all in company. The fire was warm, the laughter loud, the cost came quietly to me. Of all the harm I ever did, it never crossed another's door. It fell on me like winter rain and washed me to this parting shore. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. I've done for want of wit, the little things I can't recall, the words half spilled, the chances missed, now drift like smoke along the wall. Of all the comrades ere I had, they turn their faces, hide a tear, they clasp my hand, they bless my road, their voices follow soft and clear. So raise it high, then set it down, and let the embered candles fall. Walk slowly from the open door. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. So raise it high, then set it down, and let the embered candles fall. Walk slowly from the open door. Good night and joy be to